All right, it is Monday night, 9 o'clock p.m. Central Standard Time, which means it's time for the Royal We Live. And I'm so thankful to be here with you guys on a Monday night. I'm going to go ahead and wait just a little bit of time, long enough to let some people go ahead and sign on so I do not get started all alone here. Thank you so much for joining the Royal We Live. This is a community of support for those of you who are coming out of narcissistic abuse and healing and moving on with your life. Thank you so much for being here. Let's go ahead and say hi to Tanya. What's up, Tanya? How are you? And Taylor Zabel. Hello, everybody. How are you doing? How was your weekend? Hi, Karina. Laura, how are you? Thank you so much for being here. We'll wait just a couple more minutes before we get started. And I hope everybody had a great weekend. I spent the weekend trying to wrap up a new video, organic video, and I'm going to share about that on tonight's topic. We're going to be talking about the topic of the new video coming out, which is going to be the topic of delegation. The delegation that you feel. It's actually the feelings of not being able to move forward, being stuck, being down, being depressed, being broken down long after you're out of the abusive relationship, long after you have left the toxic environment. What is it that haunts you? That's what we're going to be talking about. So we'll wait just a couple more minutes. Hopefully everybody's doing good. And we'll go ahead and get started. There's everybody. Coming on in. I know that Tanya likes the music, and so does Taylor. Doot. So we'll get started here in just a minute. Time for peace. How are you? Thank you so much for being here. I'm glad that you're here. And we're going to go ahead and I'll go ahead and get started right now. All right. So for those of you who are new to the Royal We Live, thank you so much for being here. The Royal We Live is a community supported live every Monday night venture. It's supported through Patreon. So for those of you who are new, you can find out more about supporting the Royal We Live through Patreon at Join the Royal We. And this is the goal ultimately is to be able to go live every single night. That's what we would like to see happen. I can play music through this, right? I'm going to go ahead and leave the music on. We'd like to be able to go live every single night. That's the goal. With 300 Patreon supporters, we will go live every single night. And this would not be possible if it was not for the moderators. The moderators here for tonight are Taylor. She puts the dream in hashtag the dream team. And Tanya gives the best virtual hugs on the internet. Blue will be here to link you up, and D-Doll is the queen of the one-liners. They're the moderators. They're here to help support you through any questions that you might have. You will also see them on the Facebook, the Royal We Facebook group, and they're here for you. And so you utilize that. It's an amazing thing to be able to come to a community and know that there's people here who are there for you, who understand exactly what you're going through coming out of narcissistic abuse or any kind of abusive, toxic environments, whether it be intimate relationships, parents, whatever the case may be. And so that is really, really, really awesome that they are here. And with that, let's go ahead and get started. I'm going to go ahead and put the telephone number up so that you guys can go ahead and get that number and write it down. We do take live phone calls, and I look forward to hearing from you this week about how your weekend was or just what's going on and how you're dealing with whatever it is that you're going through. But right now, I want to get started with the topic for tonight, which is actually the new video that's coming out, and I'm wrapping it up. I believe I just put too much on the creative front in this video, and you'll see what I mean. It's a lot of shots, and I got really dirty. I did all my own stunts and stuff in this video. Just kind of rolled around in the dirt. Oh my goodness! But I wanted to make sure that I get the images right for what I'm trying to show, and I really enjoy these videos that I'm doing, and the music in it I had a good time making all that, and I hope you like it. But here's what the video is about. Okay, you come out of narcissistic abuse, and you realize that the battle is not over, right? There's three different struggles that I have dealt with personally in my own life, and I know you're dealing with it too. The first struggle is what I call, or what is actually called in the in Philippians, actually in the Bible, the ancient Greek word for it is arche, and this is an initial starting point. It's starting over. That's the first struggle. You come out of narcissistic abuse, you realize everything you had is gone. It's been broken down. What you thought was a relationship is gone. Maybe your finances are gone. What you once called home is gone. What you once called family is gone. And you are in this place where it's just you, and you need to create something new. And in the video I talked about, this is a couple weeks ago, the video I uploaded, the organic video, was called Rebuild. And this is the struggle coming out of narcissistic abuse. It's based on that Greek word arche, which means not only is it a new beginning, but it's also a ruler. Why is it a ruler, right? And in the Bible, and I use the Bible, and I actually got the Greek word arche from the Bible, as well as tonight's topic, and because the ancient terminology, the ancient words, that we get a lot of insight from that. The word arche is used in Philippians does not only mean starting point, but it also means ruler. Why would a starting point rule your life? Well, because there's no getting out of a starting point. There's no skipping ahead. Wherever you're at, there you are. And so that rules your life. And if you are in a new beginning place, you're ruled by that place until you co-create and you move on to the next place, till you cycle up above that, right? So that is arche. The next struggle, which this video that I am working on to get out to you, is on the next Greek word, the ancient Greek word, the next struggle, which follows arche. This can be something you struggle with simultaneously, or something that you struggle with a long time after, but it's called exousia, and I've talked about this before on this live stream. Exousia means delegation. That's the closest translation is delegation. It's a delegation, but it's more than delegation. When I looked into delegation, it makes sense as to why we struggle with this coming out of narcissistic abuse. Because what is delegation? When you think of delegation, you think of delegation as being an exchange. It's when one entity hands over authorization or the authority. It's a transference of power. And someone's delegated as responsible as responsible for getting things done in a workplace, a work environment, right? We often think of delegation as just being a positive thing, something that is a promotion. So-and-so is now being delegated to do this and do that. But delegation and a transference of power can happen with anything. A delegation can happen with wickedness. Somebody can transfer, there can be a transference of wickedness from one entity into another. And so how does this delegation work? What is it I'm talking about here? Well, we have to understand the abuse and the trauma that you experience with narcissistic abuse. All of the name calling, all of the accusations, all of the telling you that you are a bad, horrible person, and on and on and on. And a lot of people just call this projection, which it is. It's projection. The narcissist is projecting onto you all the things that they hate, that they live with. Feelings of rejection, feelings of hopelessness, all this stuff. So they project it outward, right, onto you. You're the bad person. You're the one with the issues. You're the one with this and that. And so we recognize this as projection, but I don't feel like we completely understand or respect or know what's taking place inside of us subconsciously as we deal with this. Because yes, it's projection from the narcissist. However, if we are not careful and guarding our hearts and putting on the full armor, right, then it transforms and it turns into something else. Delegation. See, what they're doing is not only projecting, but they're handing over the task and the responsibility of being the bad person, being the hopeless person, being the mean person, being the abusive person, being the toxic person. They're handing it over, saying, I don't want to be this. I'm not this. You are this. It's a transference. And there's probably a moment of time that you can recall where you were being attacked or falsely accused or falsely blamed for something, where it literally felt like something jumped inside of you. This happened to me. I made a video about it, talking about empathy and how you can feel things, and sometimes you feel this jump inside of you. And I struggled with this, and I had for a long time, trying to figure out what is this that I struggle with. That moment where something jumped inside of me, and I wrestled, and I've been struggling with it ever since. What was it? Was it a demon? Was it spiritual? What is that? It shook me up. But one thing I noticed that I've struggled with, and from that point, is the way in which I perceive others see me. This is real. Maybe you struggle with this too. And I've been thinking, why? Why? Why do I struggle with the way other people see me? How do I see myself? And this is where it started to make sense. That moment that I felt something jump inside of me, that was the moment of delegation. That was the transference of power. That's when the narcissist, even though the narcissist is not an authority over your life, words are powerful. And when they speak these things and project onto you, a delegation can take place. A delegation can take place. You are this person. And if you stay involved with the narcissist, they ensure that you are that person. And I know a lot of people say, well, how come, why does the narcissist get to do that? Why do they get to delegate a role over my life as being the bad person? Well, they don't. They don't get to. What you don't realize is that when you try to maintain a relationship with them, you're not allowing any other option. It's kind of like this. Let's say you go and you get a new job, and the company says, okay, you can be here, but you have to be this if you're going to be here. You can't tell the people at work, well, no, I'm going to be here and be me and do what I want to do, right? The company is going to say, no, if you're going to be here, you're going to do the job that we give you, right? Is it starting to click, starting to make sense? I know you're saying, yeah, well, Kevin, that's a job. I'm talking about a relationship. It doesn't matter. The one who is in need and going to the other person in the relationship is the one that is going to take whatever role that person is going to give them. Did you catch that? The one who is going and trying to be involved in the relationship. And this is how narcissists set their relationships up. They love bomb the heck out of you, then make it so that you are the one who wants to go to them. You're the one that wants them. You're the one that wants to make it work. You're the one that wants to find peace. It's like you're the one that keeps going to that job or that company saying, here I am. I want to do what I want to do here. And they're going, no. Now that you're going to be what I want you to be if you're going to be with me, right? And so you don't have to take the responsibility. You don't have to take the delegation. But what it means for you to not take it is that you have to leave. You have to go no contact. You have to walk away. You have to close that door. You have to be able to say, I do not accept that delegated role. How dare you even think that I would accept such a delegation in life? I'm gone. Find somebody else. And you have to mean it, and you have to walk away, right? And even then, depending on how long you stayed in that abusive relationship, subconsciously you were taking on that delegated role. You were taking on that assignment of being a bad person, being a toxic person, being a hopeless person, whatever. And so when you finally get out after it's crushed you, traumatized you, you still struggle with that delegation over your life because that was your last role. And you allowed that to take place, and so you can feel like you live with that delegation. A delegation can stay with you, and you can start to feel that maybe others are looking at you in that same way. This is why it's so important, the relationships that you get involved in. It's so important that you guard your heart, you guard your mind, you don't let people speak ill things over you and around you, because this stuff does have power. This is an entity. The ancient Greek word for this was exousia, and it's a real struggle. It's an entity. It's an unseen force. The delegation is an unseen force that can grab onto you and can affect your life. You can't see it, but you can feel it, man. You walk out of the relationship and you feel like you're how many people out there say, "Man, am I the toxic one? I'm confused. I don't know. Am I the narcissistic one? I don't know." And they're ruined over this stuff because of the delegation, because of that transference of power. They had no idea what they were getting involved in and who they were with, and that transference started to take place. They experienced that jolt when that transference of power had taken place, where the narcissist said, I'm taking all the stuff that I felt and I'm giving it to you. It's your responsibility now. You're it. Tag, you're it. Right. Then to make it even more real, they do the smear campaigns, the gossiping, and it's kind of like them making the announcement. By the way, everybody, I have an announcement to make. So-and-so is now delegated as the toxic individual in the group. Would you all join me in welcoming so-and-so as the new toxic person? I'm no longer toxic. I'm not bad. I'm a perfect person. This is the toxic person right over here. Everybody, direct your attention. And this is what happens. And so, and everybody starts looking at you. Friends, their friends, everybody starts looking at you in that way. So it really takes that strength in you to realize early on what's going on, how you're starting to be viewed, how they're starting to, what transference of power is taking place, how they're starting to delegate you. And delegation is typical in relationships, right? In circles of friends. And here's the power of delegation. You know, you have a circle of friends, and usually the group of friends, they have some people in there who are known for something. There's usually the cool one in the friends, or this one, and then there's the funny, goofy one, right? And how many of you can recall being in this group and maybe you were delegated as something, maybe the funny, goofy one, and you never even realized you were a funny, goofy person, but in this group of friends, you were the funny, goofy one, right? And what happens when you start to become delegated as that in that group of friends? Well, you start to take on more of those characteristics, don't you? You start to be more funny and more goofy within that group of friends. You accept that delegated role. And that's, do you follow me? This is the power of delegation. It can transform your life. It can form and make you into this certain person, not only in the relationship, but in the outside world as well. It's the same principle. It's the same thing that happens within narcissistic abusive relationships. Even in families where you have the black sheep. The black sheep is delegated. So guess what? Maybe they start acting more like the black sheep. And they struggle with it, and it stays with them even in the outside world. Exousia, that's a real struggle. So how do you beat this? Well, I'm going to talk more about it in the video, but you basically beat it by understanding that the only delegation you accept is the delegation that you accept. You don't have to accept any delegation in a group of friends or friendships or romantic relationship. It's up to you, but you have to be able to leave. Right? You have to be able to say, no, I don't accept that delegation. And you also have to understand that you have been delegated already by your creator, by a higher source who has delegated you from the moment you were born. You belong from before you were born. You belong in a much larger family. And that's all I got to say about that. I'm going to go ahead and take a phone call from Florida before we get into more of our questions from online. I hope you guys enjoyed that. You're live on the Royal We.
Hello.
Hi, how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing good. You're live on the Royal We. Thank you for calling.
Yeah, I just wanted to call in. I just actually got on just 2 seconds ago and tell you. So about 8 months ago, I started calling you, and it was my first time, and explained my situation. And I got out about 84 days ago. I had no contact.
Good.
And it was really, you were the first one I started listening to, so you tremendously helped me. I just started watching your videos, and finally gave me the courage to leave. When he was at work one day, he gave me the silent treatment for 2 weeks, and then I was just like, after he headbutted me in the face.
Ooh.
And I was like, it was time right there. I was like, and I think he was already talking to somebody else, so I could feel it, and so when he went to work, I loaded my car up, loaded my dogs up, changed my phone number, and left. And drove all the way from Florida to Colorado.
That's probably the best move that you could make. Just getting out of that toxic environment, getting away from the hostility, the best thing that you could do. It's not easy.
Yeah, and I'm sorry.
I said it's not easy. It's
Oh
bold.
no, I'm going to tell you, for the first 45 days, I seemed to be okay. And then something, I don't know what happened with me. I don't know. But I went into really depression for like 3 weeks, like severe,
Right.
to where I was feeling like trauma, and I was crying, and I was hysterical, and I wanted
Right.
to, and I got past it. And I'm going to be honest with you. I know there's a lot of people that aren't religious, but I'm not saying I'm a saint, but I've always believed in something higher. And I swear, I would get on my knees and just beg God, please just let me be. And it went away. And there's days I have a teeny little bit of it, but it went away. I'm on my way to healing, and I see things clearer now. That
Good.
it was the
Good.
best thing for me. But
Yeah.
I wanted to say thank you to you and all your, anybody that's helped me, because I started listening to the very first. That's what made me actually start figuring out what he was, and to leave. So I
Good.
wanted to tell you thank you, because you helped me so much, and
Well,
really,
thank
I think,
you.
in my life. So
Thank you. Thank you for
thank you,
calling.
Kevin.
Thank you
You're
so
welcome.
much. Appreciate it.
Sure. Bye.
Bye. Well, I do appreciate that people call and just to say thank you. They've moved on. They were able to get out of the toxic situation. That's when it gets really bad. When she said that there was physical abuse involved, and it gets really rough. This is why even the first signs of abuse needs to be taken seriously, right? I received a comment not long ago on one of my videos, and it was talking about somebody on one of my videos said something to the extent of you know my girlfriend left me, blah blah blah, and she's with somebody else, and I think this narcissistic abuse thing is being used too much and overused, and I think we just need to have more love and more compassion and more forgiveness. In other words, he was saying, I forgive her. And he said that I forgive her, and I'll forgive her until she comes back. Okay. And I read these comments, and I just I've got to shake my head in disbelief because, good for him. I applaud this desire to be forgiving and loving and this compassion and stuff. However, what are you going to do when you hear stories like that where there's a physically abusive person headbutting another person? Oh, just show compassion and love and know that they're just going to come. No, I'm sorry. I don't buy it. We got a call from British Columbia. You're live on the Royal We.
Oh, thank you. Hi, Kevin. This is Kim M.
Hi, Kim. How are you?
Oh, I'm very good. Thank you. I'm thrilled to be speaking with you. I just have so much gratitude towards you and what you're doing to help everybody. I
Thank you.
can't tell you how much you helped me.
Thank you.
Oh my
Appreciate it. I appreciate that. Thank you.
Okay, you're welcome. I'm a little nervous about what I'm about to say.
It's okay.
And so I'm probably going to speak for 2 minutes or so and try to get it all out. But this is the time for me to call based on what you're discussing tonight. So I couldn't not.
Good.
It's so
Good.
Just briefly, background, growing up when I was a kid, I was always confused about what my parents believed to be true about me, because I was actually quite innocent and well-intentioned in my mind, and I was tried to be good all the time. But now that I live nearby my parents again, I've moved back here in this last year. I can see that my mom is defaming my character to my dad, and that he's her flying monkey. And I can understand how, like, just to say she was very abusive to me growing up, yelling and screaming, hostile, raging. And I always thought it was my fault because I wasn't communicating well enough that she would understand. No, I didn't do that. And she would accuse me of things and hit me, and I hadn't done them. But now I'm seeing it operate before my eyes, and it's like just amazing and how that's going on. And so, you know, like I'm going to be having to do something about that, I think. But to be honest with you, what she's doing with me doesn't bother me anymore. I've done so much work on myself and growing and learning. But about that definition of my character, it's like that delegation of something upon me that isn't me, and I can feel it, and I don't like it. It's just that it doesn't. It helps so much to see it for what it is. It's not as insidious as it used to be, because it used to just tear my soul apart that they would think that of me. And so it's just such a huge help to see it all play out before my eyes. So just to two things briefly to finish that up is that my last relationship was to a classic narc, and I've gone through all the things that we've discussed since. I've been listening to you since last Christmas, and it was really, you know, the worst situation I've ever dealt with in my life by far. But now here's the thing I'm looking for help with. Since then it's been 10 years since I got away. I had to be really careful about it, even though I didn't know about narcissistic personality disorder. I knew it was awful, and I had to be really kind of sort of slow and sneaky about it. And I moved away, and I changed my phone number. And I know the only reason he can't get a hold of me is because he can't get a hold of me. So that worked. That's the only thing that worked, because he was just hoovering like crazy before I was able to do all that. But the thing is that now I've been completely celibate and haven't dated or anything for 10 years. And the thought of, and I didn't want to call in earlier because I don't want to be a bad role model for other people who've left that relationship, because it was night and day for me after I left. But the thought of being with somebody since him, it just leaves me stone cold. I have like no feeling about, no desire or inclination to do that. And, you know, now I'm ready to move forward and have an extraordinary life that I deserve. And I just really don't know how to go about that in the romance department, because I just don't feel it. But something in me knows that it can happen.
Right. Okay.
That's it. Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah. Well, no. There's an awful lot there, you know, to break through. You indicated that you're dealing with your mom and your dad is not that much of an issue for you anymore, because you already know what's going on there, right? But I would caution you still to maintain a healthy relationship with them. If you're going to have any kind of relationship with mom and dad, it's going to have to be based on boundaries, on your boundaries, right? Because it's real easy for mom and dad to still believe that they are mom and dad. Here's the thing that people don't understand is that the relationship with parents and children is not a relationship of unification. And you're not supposed to be unified with your parents. The role of parents in the life, and parents, children, that dynamic, it's a role of responsibility, and that is it. Parents are responsible to teach, lead, and guide children, and then send them on their way to make a life, right? It's only in certain cultures, it's a cultural thing, where people are like, well, you got to live and you got to stick together, man. Families stick together like a gang. And, you know, no, right? That's not how in the ancient Hebrew text, it was an instruction. Therefore, a man and a woman shall leave the mother and father. And then you see this all throughout the Old Testament of the Bible. You know, people left by choice or they were forced out. You know, Abraham left, went far away. It never says they even talked to their parents again. Joseph was separated from his parents. You know, all throughout the stories. And so this is the thing. And when you get older in life and you go back and you try to have a relationship with your parents, sometimes adult children think that it's going to be different, that they're going to look at you as an adult, as an equal. No, they're not. They're going to look at you still as their child who's messing up. Because especially if that's the type of attitude that they have, they look at their children as being mess ups or whatever. That's how they're still going to look at you, right? And so it's best to have healthy boundaries if you have any relationship, and it just looks like this. You talk to them and you have a relationship with them when you're ready, when you're mentally prepared and ready. You talk about the things you're comfortable talking about, nothing else, and you know the power of saying goodbye and cutting them off and saying, I'm not talking to you and I'm not going and I'm not coming here. You just have these healthy boundaries in place. Realize that they are not in control in any way, shape, or form. You owe them nothing, despite what parents say. I don't care. A lot of parents do this. Well, I wiped your butt when you were a baby, so you owe me. No, they did their responsibility. You don't owe them anything, So it's good that you have that part under control. Now, this brings me to the second thing that I wanted to share with you, because I realize that there's a trend that takes place, especially with people, and this is when there's not an intimate relationship going on, which it sounds like you kind of want, but you want to be very careful, and I get that. But when there's not an intimate relationship, which is what you're supposed to have, your own partnership, it's easy to want to go back to the parents. And so that's probably why you're there, trying to have that relationship, because you don't have your own unification, which you're supposed to. So now you kind of want to do that. You want to separate and get your own unification here. And this is different because it's going to require you actually getting to know people, getting to know men slowly and as friends. And in order to do this, you're going to have to die to even your own desires. You truly are. You're going to have to cut yourself off and say, listen, no contact and healthy boundaries is more about telling yourself no than telling somebody else no. If you can't tell yourself no, then you can never tell somebody else no. You follow me on that? So you have desires as a woman, and you have these things that you're looking for, but you have to be able to know your limits and know when to say no to yourself. No, you don't know that person like that, so you're not going to try to get that or anything, okay? You don't want to do that. Instead, what I would suggest is just, I guess, in a way, mingle, become friends. There's nothing wrong with having coffee with somebody, meeting them, talking, laughing. And there's nothing wrong with doing that for months and months and months and months before you even really, truly get to know a person. Because if you ever want to get involved and have a good, healthy relationship, you have to know that you know who and what you're messing with. You really do. And that has to come long before any intimacy, especially in today's world. Today, it's all backwards. People get together, and within 3 nights, they're doing all the intimate stuff. And then they're wondering why the relationship burns like the fire, goes straight to hell, right? Because they didn't know each other. They just went straight to the intimate stuff, right? So you need to reverse that, say no to yourself, and just take it as friends for however long it takes, right? And then pray, and hopefully in a long time it will be revealed this is a person that you can see yourself building a life with, building a family with, all that stuff. And that has to be in place. It can no longer be based on, oh, he's cute, oh, he makes me laugh. No. It's who can you establish and build a life with, and it depends on what you want. So the first thing I would suggest is write down what it is that you would like to see. Where are you at in life, and what kind of relationship do you want to see? Do you want a real partnership? Can you imagine yourself building a home, building a family, building a life with somebody else? You have to be able to see this stuff first. Or do you just see yourself having fun, mingling, getting together? So knowing where you're at and what you truly, truly, truly deep down want is going to, that's the precursor. Then from there, then you start to be able to look for these things in other people, right? I know it sounds weird. A lot of people probably are under the impression, well, I've always wanted a really good guy, but I don't know if you really wanted a good guy, You know what I mean? If that's what you really wanted, then you'd be holding out for that, but you're not. You're running off to these troublemakers, right? Because maybe deep down that's something about that you want. I don't know, right? So unwillingly, subconsciously, you kind of really want that, and you keep yourself stuck in this thing of hurting yourself because there's something about that hurt that you want. I don't know, but it's important for you just to kind of start to square that away. What kind of relationship, partnership, equal partnership are you looking for? And a relationship ultimately is a partnership. It is. You're coming together, so you need to make sure that whoever you are going to be spending the majority of your time with, they partner with you in certain things, right? Your partners, and I don't mean just by their lip service, because any Mysterio jokester can give you some good lip and say and mirror you. There's a difference between, you have to be able to recognize when you're being mirrored and when you're looking at an authentic person and you've been able to see behind the scenes of their life what they do on a daily basis, the type of job they do, type of work they do, where they spend their time, do they have family? You know what I mean? You get to know this stuff, get to know the authentic, true them. Then you can make the decision on whether that's somebody who you can partner with, because that person's world is going to join your world. There's a lot to it.
Yeah. Wow, powerful. And two things in particular really stood out about what you were saying is, one is the standing up to yourself, saying no to yourself, and
absolutely,
you feel yourself starting to get pulled into their energy by flirting or whatever it is.
Yeah.
Then you say no to yourself, and they'll feel that.
And women, you women in particular, my heart is for. It's not because of me that the royal we predominantly is women, but I have a particular heart for women because I grew up with a single mother who really struggled with this. And I watched her life get destroyed. Okay. And I was too young to do anything about it to help her. And except, and so you know your value. You are, here's the other part too. Know your value as a woman. All right. Know your value. You're beautiful from head to toe, everything about you, your hair, your skin, the way you feel, the way you hug, the way you talk, everything about you is extremely desirable. You have to understand this. It's true. It's the reason that men work so hard and try to get stuff and try to obtain stuff and want power, because at the end of the day, it comes down to trying to have that companionship. This is the way God has designed it. From the beginning, he saw that Adam was not happy and content having everything in the garden handed to him, right? He had everything in the world, but he didn't have one thing. He was lonely. And so therefore, in the ancient Hebrew text, this is the understanding that then he made a woman out of the bone of Adam. Here's your partner. You'll never be lonely again, right? Whether you believe in God or not, the ancient Hebrew people were trying to tell us something. This is how important, this is how valuable you are as a woman. Don't ever let any man, and in culture, they sell that so short. Their videos and rap videos and rock videos making you out to be some kind of trophy and this and that, but deep down it's because you're so desired. But now here's the thing: knowing this gives you power, knowing how desired you are, right? Because you are an award. Why would you give you yourself as a beautiful award? Why would you give it away for nothing? Why would you reward a bum who gives you nothing in return? Why would you reward somebody with your embrace who can't give you something great? Do you follow me on this? Too many women give away themselves, that give away their award, their rewards, their goodies, so to speak, right?
Yeah.
For nothing. for nothing but just a little bit of talk, or because the guy's cute, or because he's got some muscles. What about having muscles deserves the reward of your embrace? I mean, that's a reward. So understand this. And so as you understand this and you understand the power behind that, you take that and do with it what you will. But know that every man out there that has a desire for companionship is going to be looking towards you, right? So you need to put yourself in the position now of, what do I want? What's going to deserve me? You know what type of woman you are. You know what you have. You know what you give. You know how you love. What deserves that? And you need to start looking at all of your relationships. What deserves your time? What deserves your affection? What deserves it? Just some cute, sweet talk? Or somebody who has built something, is stable, who, you know what I mean? You need to start to figure these things out. Hope that makes sense to you.
Yes, very much so. Wow, I'm so glad I called. I'm overwhelmed with how powerful this knowledge is just downloading into me about what you're saying, because it's just so relevant, and I so needed to hear. I never felt like I was an award, and I guess it just hearing all that and what you're saying, I'm just taking it in. It's just amazing. Thank you so much, Kevin.
Well, thank you for calling in, and you're more than that. I don't want to make it sound like, you're your trophy. You know what I mean? But I'm trying my best with the English language that I know to just be able to try to help you to understand your value and your worth, even if you don't see it. Coming from a man, right? Just to be vulnerable and honest with you. Right? Without you meaning woman, there wouldn't be it. I couldn't imagine life. I couldn't imagine it, right? It's just this is why, right? There's that partnership. This is why unification exists there. And so it's important, right? No man wants to be alone. Every man wants a partner. And so if you understand this, you'll be able to start to sift through and understand that, listen, don't think that just the bold, arrogant, loudmouth guys are the only ones who really want a woman. No. The quiet ones, the shy ones, the ones that are trying to do good in the world, the ones who are shy and talk, they have the same desires, right? They just don't waste their time. They can't lower themselves to go to watch these videos of pickup artists, how to talk to the girl and get her to woo, right? They don't have those words. Maybe you need to start looking in that direction, because there's a lot of people out there selling pickup artist packages to people. And these are men who have nothing to offer except just their pickup lines, which work, right? The devil's got that down to a science, and he's putting it out there for guys. Learn how to say these words, right? And you can get the rewards that only a husband should have, but I'll let you get it if you know how to use the right words, right? So this is why it's very important for you to set boundaries, know who you are, know your worth first, and then know what it is you need in a relationship, in a partnership. When I say need, know what it is that you're trying to achieve in your life. Hold out. Do not reward bad behavior. Do not reward anything that is not deserving of any kind of a reward. And you are a reward. And so just, I hope this makes sense. There's a lot there. You can chew on that for a while, I guess.
Definitely. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Right on.
Yeah. It feels like I'm on the precipice of a brand new life, and I'm feeling very hopeful. And I just think this will help me a lot. So much you said there. I'll be listening to this again for sure.
Good. Thank you. Thank you for calling. I appreciate it.
Thank you, Kevin. Bye-bye.
Bye. That was a good call. I didn't expect that to go where it went, but that was an excellent question, and it I poured out from my heart to that woman and to all the ladies out there who are in the same situation right now. You want to find a relationship. You want to find a healthy relationship. You want to, and a lot of you aren't there yet. There's a lot of women that are, I don't want to go there. I don't want, and that's okay too. It's completely understandable, especially in today's world and in society and in culture. It's very difficult to now know. How do you know who's real, who's legitimate? How do you know who's not just trying to pull a fast one over you? How do you know if a person's not just trying to, smooth talk and a pickup artist and just trying to get something? It's very difficult. It is. But my answer to you ladies out there is this: it doesn't matter at this point if you know about them. The real question is, do you know about you? Because if you know about you, if you know who you are, because he goes to the gym all the time and just got smooth words but has nothing else. I'm holding out for somebody who is going to build a family with me, right? We got a call from Texas. You're live on the...
Am I on with you?
You're live. How are you?
Hello? For some reason I can only hear you on speaker. I apologize.
You there?
Yeah, I can hear you now.
Okay. What's going on?
Well, okay, I called earlier. I'm finally on with the right feed here. I think I was watching a different show that was saying live chat, and you had a different shirt on. So now I think you have a blue shirt on right now, right?
I sure do. You know what? You must have been watching one of the old reruns of the live show. So this is the actual live one.
Okay. I'm obviously technologically challenged, so I'll get with it. So what was the topic? Because the other one I was watching was on finding happiness, and I came in and I listened to the conversation with the other lady.
Uh-huh.
I don't want to get off topic or anything. What is the topic?
The topic tonight, well, the topic's been all over the place. We talked about the delegation, but more recently, just right now, we had a phone call. Somebody was talking about getting back involved in other relationships, and we were talking about understanding your value, especially as a woman, knowing your value in life, knowing knowing who you are, right? As a woman, as a family person, as a mother, as a lover, knowing who you are, and then out of that place, knowing what it is that you require, not just what looks good, right? Because there's a lot of partners out there who pretend, put on good lip service, pickup artists, whatever you want to call them. Not that, but what it is you're really holding out for, and it comes from first knowing yourself. So that's really what we were talking about just a minute ago.
Right. Okay. Which is, of course, we can all relate to. I mean, without a doubt, because like I told you earlier, this is my first go. I'm 52, just turned 52, and first go around with a narcissist, and just completely blindsided. And he passed away in July. He had cancer, and took me on the ride of my life from December. I knew him for almost 6 years, and it's too long to get into all the details. But from December to July the 8th. I mean, now I know all the terms because I've spent the last 3 weeks studying this narcissist stuff, like flying monkeys. I know who all those are, that were involved for 5.5 years. The love bombing started literally the night I met him. Now, I'm 52 years old. I'm weird. I literally had not been in a relationship for 23 years. 23 years. Celibate. I'm a Christian, yada, yada, yada. Never in my wildest dreams would I have thought that I would have ended up here falling in love with a man after knowing him for 5.5 years and then finally having feelings for him, and now cancer 8 months later. And turned out to be a complete narcissist, just textbook. I mean, and where you're getting at with the topic, yeah, I mean, thank God I didn't let it go any further because I think I kind of had a base of that. And he also lived in Pennsylvania and I'm in Texas. So that probably helped. Now, to make matters even worse, he got married about 2 years after I met him, he got married on their honeymoon, started having problems, and then led me to believe that he was divorced this past March. I found out the day after he died that he was still married by reading his obituary. So the love bombing, the text in the middle of the night, that he had a car crash, he was sideswiped by a dump truck off the side of the road. I mean, everything that y'all are talking about in these videos is happening. And I just fell for it. And I was madly falling in love with this guy, and then find out July the 9th that he's actually still married. So finding my worth in all of this, I don't know, I'm probably sounding like a complete crazy person because I feel like a crazy person right now. I really feel crazy. Yeah, I feel crazy. Like, how did this happen? And is life going to ever be normal again, I guess? Is it ever going to be good again?
That right there, right, is the whole question. This is what narcissistic abuse does, right? So that's a great question. I'm actually glad you asked that. Will life be good again, right? Because here's the answer. Here's the answer for you, right? Life will never be back the way it was before. It won't, right? And here's why. Because everything that happened before is what led to what took place. Okay, this is something that we all have to wake up to. We all had different ideas, and we were all fed different illusions, so to speak. For example, one of them is, well, the world is inherently a good place. Really? Where did we get that? And a lot of people may say that. Well, I just want to go back to the world I knew as a good place. Was it? Or did you just buy into that? Because the reality is the world's not a good place, right? It's not. As a matter of fact, the ancient people did the best job they could in writing literature, mainly in the Bible, illustrating the fact that the world is not a good place. The world is ever since the fall, from the very beginning, which is what starts the story off after we're given a glimpse of creation. But right after that, it's immediately, boom, you're banished from the garden. And because of this, cursed is the ground you walk on. And then we go straight into the story of one son killing the other son. Cain kills Abel. And then after that, it's the world gets flooded. And then after that, it's this war and that war. And then on and on and on and on and on. We're never, ever, 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 ever told the world is inherently good.
Right.
It's not.
Right.
So we as a culture, especially in America, and this and that, kind of amped that up, built this bubble society of law, which is good, laws and this and that, which keeps people in order. But that's all it is. We live in a place where people are in order, but even it seems like that the time on that is running real thin, right? Because and it also relies on discipline. Parents discipline their children, but without any of that, it's a real nasty place. It's a cold place. And so, no, the answer to your question, no. Life will never be back the way you once saw it because now your eyes are opened. Your eyes are open to the truth. So how do you go back and look at something that wasn't true now that your eyes are open to the truth? Now that you see that the world's not inherently good, how do you can't go back? Another aspect of it too is at some point we all have to grow up. I know you said you're 52. I talked to a lot of girls in their 30s and 40s who still live in these islands and are still struggling with these guys that they meet at these hookah bars or wherever they go and have these one-night flings. And now they're telling me that the guy's crazy and showing up. And I'm like, well, what are you doing? Why are you? First of all, stop hanging out in these places, meeting these guys and doing this stuff. We're not 19, 20, 21-year-olds anymore. We got to stop acting like that, right? Thank God we're still alive after some of the stuff we pulled when we were 19, 20, 21, 22. But there's a reason.
No doubt. Yeah.
There's a reason you got to put that away. You're not, because now Yeah, a lot of those situations you got out with, but now, you're older, and now we put ourselves in these situations with people we don't know, and it's real. There's people out there getting killed over this stuff, and we always watch it on the news or Crime Watch Daily and say, well, that can never happen to me. That's no, it can. A lot of us, if we're not careful, are one really bad mistake of a relationship, of getting too close and too intimate, away from something horrible happening. And we live in this time and in this place where you have to keep that in mind. So are you crazy if you have these thoughts? No. You're coming to terms with it. You're coming to terms with it. So there's nothing crazy about that. You have to allow your body and your mind to work these things through. I hope that makes sense.
For sure. And
right on.
Looking back, I think we can all see choices that we made that we wish we wouldn't have. But it's also, like you said, it's going to be a learning experience going forward. So
absolutely.
All right.
Thank you for calling.
Well, thanks, Kevin. Appreciate it.
All righty. Bye.
Bye-bye.
All right. One decision away from messing up. Well, listen, I want to thank everybody for being a part of the Royal We Live community tonight on this Monday night. Thank you so very much. I've got to do a better job of going back and renaming these videos so that way people know which one is currently live, which ones are the past videos. I'm not even sure what it looks like when I'm on live because I'm the one going live. So I need to figure out what it looks like when someone goes to the channel. But yes, hit that like button. And thank you so very much, all of you, for being here tonight. I am so happy. Thank you. Thank you to the moderators. Let's all give the moderators a lot of love for being here tonight. And be sure to say hi to them. Also, if you have not already, please visit Join the Royal We at Patreon and consider becoming a Patreon supporter of the Royal We. The goal is to reach 300 Patreons, at which time we will go live every single night and be a community for support for people, whatever their struggle is, wherever they're at, coming out of an abusive relationship or just trying to navigate back into a world where it's pretty hostile. We are here for that. And so with 300 Patreon supporters, we will be going that route every single night. Watch out for the new video that's going to be coming out on the Organic Royal We channel. For those of you who don't know what Organic Royal We channel means, that simply means the original Royal We channel, where all the uploaded videos are. This is the live channel. There's the Royal We, which is the organic upload channel. I will be putting that video out this week. I am putting the pressure on me so I can get that video out. And because it needs to get out. I need to just stop fidgeting with it. Somebody say, Kevin, stop fidgeting with the video. Just say that. Just say, Kevin, stop fidgeting with it. Stop trying to put more music on it. Stop with putting special effects on it and just put the video out. Sometimes even I need to hear that from you all. Just put it out there. With that, thank you so much for watching. Have a great evening, everybody. And, yes. Facebook. Did you say ditch it? D-Doll, did you say ditch the video? Oh my goodness. Like, just get rid of it? All right, so here's the music. And, yes, join the Facebook group. Tanya is there. Taylor is there. D-Doll is there. And, there's a lot of people there who are able to help you out in Facebook. Also, join me on Instagram at Join the Royal We. And we will be back next Monday night, 9 o'clock p.m. Central Standard Time, right here on the Royal We. Have a great night, everybody, and have a great rest of your week. Dude.